Welcome to Biff's Mystery Theater. I have many tales to tell you. Ghost stories, murder stories, and tales that will make your bones chill. Join me, won't you? For Theater of the Mind, where you always have the best seat in the house. Now close your eyes and turn off the lights.
Box 13, with the star of Paramount Pictures, Alan Ladd, as Dan Holliday.
Box 13, care of Star Times. I don't know how to ask you to do this for me because I don't know who you are or whether you want money to help me. I can pay a little, all I've got to help my boy. I can come to you or you can see me. I live at number 2457.
My name is Mrs. Karen. Please, if you will help, I'll do anything for you. It was written in pencil, neatly, carefully, as if she wanted every word to count. And it led to, well, a kid. A scared kid. And murder.
And now, back to Box 13 and Dan Holliday's newest adventure, Delinquent's Dilemma.
That's a great observation, Susie. What brings it on?
I was trying to figure out what she looks like.
And did you?
Well, I think I can virtualize her.
Visualize. Don't try the big ones until you can handle the small ones.
What do you mean, Mr. Holliday?
Well, you work on it a while, until I get back from Mrs. Karen. Number 245 Sanders Avenue is right in the middle of a soot-blackened neighborhood on what is known as the other side of the tracks. I had no trouble finding the mailbox marked Kieran, or the flat with the number 4 painted in white on the door. I knocked. Mrs. Kieran let me in. She was about 45, worried-looking, and, well, she wasted no time.
Will you help me?
Maybe you'd better tell me how, before I answer that.
I haven't much money, and
Money doesn't matter, Mrs. Kieran. Just tell me what you want.
You don't take money?
No, that's right.
But I don't understand.
I'll explain later. First, let's hear what you've got to say.
All right. It's about my boy, Biff.
Biff? Nickname?
Yes. His real name is Reginald.
Oh.
Mr.
Holliday. Dan for short.
Thank you. Well, he's in jail. Biff is.
Why?
For stealing.
Mrs. Kieran, I'm not a detective. I never work against the law. I know that sounds, well, stuffy, but that's the way it is.
Biff didn't break the law.
But you said he was in jail.
I know he didn't do it.
Do what?
He was arrested 2 days ago. Somebody broke into a store and robbed a cash box.
But why was Biff arrested for it?
The owner of the store thought it was Biff. You see, Mr. Holliday, my boy, he got in bad company about a year ago. He was mixed up in something then.
Oh, I see. So it looks bad for him now.
But he didn't do it. When they arrested him, he said he didn't do it.
Well, does he have a lawyer?
He doesn't need one.
Oh? Why not?
Because now he says he did it.
Let me get this straight, Mrs. Kieran. At first he denied it, now he admits it.
Yes.
Well, maybe Biff realizes that he, well...
I know you think he knows better than to deny it.
Something like that, yes.
Go to see him. Talk to him. Find out for yourself.
And if I decide he's guilty?
You won't have to come back here.
Hello, Biff.
Huh? Who are you?
I'm a friend of your mother's.
Ma? She's all right, ain't she? She's okay?
Sure. I just came from her.
Oh. Who are you?
Your mother asked me to help. My name's Holiday. Dan Holiday.
Never heard of you.
I guess not. Sit down, Biff.
You a mouthpiece?
Lawyer's the word you're looking for.
I don't want none.
Well, I'm not.
Now listen, let me alone, will you?
Oh, now, take it easy, Biff.
Hey, what's your racket, mister?
If it makes any difference, I'm a writer.
Writer? Books and stuff?
Uh-huh.
I don't get it. What do you want with me? Story of my life or something?
Maybe I'd like to write something good about it.
Blow out of here, will you?
Biff, I told you I just came from your mother. She asked me to help you.
Yeah, I guess she would.
You see, she doesn't think you broke into that store.
I said I did.
After you said you didn't.
Hey, look, I get a better rap saying I did it. You're always easier on a guy when you don't put up a squawk. That's why I said I didn't. And then I did.
You know, I think you're lying, Biff.
All right, so you think I'm lying, so go ahead and think it. And get out of here. And stay away from Ma, you hear me? You just stay away from her.
Oh, now, just a minute, Biff.
I said get out of here and don't come back no more. Don't come back!
Well, I didn't know what to think. Biff was lying or he wasn't lying. That's a great thought. A big help. Then I called Kling and got him to find out a few more things for me, which I mightn't have been able to get without him.
Yeah, I got what you want, Dan. Biff Kieran.
That's the kid.
Year ago, picked up for stealing tires. First offense, probation. Got in a couple more scrapes. Nothing serious until this.
And if this is proved on him?
Proved? He admitted it. Nothing to prove, Dan.
He denied it at first.
Sure. His alibi was that he'd been to a movie.
Well, couldn't he prove it?
No.
Did he stick to it?
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, he admits breaking into that store.
That's it. You're, interested, huh?
Yeah, I am.
Aye.
His mother asked me to help.
Oh. Now look, Dan. The kid's got into trouble. Sure, his mother won't believe. Most mothers won't, but...
But this looks fishy.
Why?
Because if Biff admits this, he goes to prison.
That's the general idea.
But if he thought he had a chance to stay out, don't you think he'd try to fight?
Maybe he's looking for a light rap.
I don't believe that.
You got any ideas?
No,
And I can't help. My department's homicide.
Yeah, I know. Well, thanks for the information.
Don't mention it.
I'll see you later. I thought about it some more, and the more it went around in my head, the more it looked phony. Biff seemed scared and almost eager to take the rap for the breaking and entry job. Why? Why do that if he knew it would mean prison? I went to see the owner of the store, and, well, he wasn't sure it was Biff. But that didn't make any difference either, because the police had an admission of guilt. So I went home, let myself into my apartment.
You don't need the light, chum. Close that door. There's a draft. I catch cold easy.
If we're going to get better acquainted, we should see each other, don't you think?
I don't want to make any more friends.
Well, you haven't.
Okay. Sit down.
Thanks.
Now, look.
Cigarette?
Don't light no match.
Ashamed of your face?
It'll get by. Just make sure that yours does.
Oh. Am I supposed to figure that one out?
You already did.
Yeah, I guess I did.
Uh-huh. Now, look, I want you...
How'd you get in here?
Ain't you ever gonna let me talk?
I'm just curious, that's all.
Okay, I got a pass key, a skeleton key.
Mm-hmm.
You're satisfied?
Oh, sure.
You mind if I talk now?
I'd be charmed. What do we talk about?
You?
That's a very interesting subject. I was born of poor but wealthy parents in a small lodge town
Look,
back
I'll
of
come
the...
back in a couple of days and we'll kill each other.
Oh, fine. I'll have a cake baked. What do you want?
Nothing. I'm a very easy guy to please.
It's a virtue, and I take it you don't have many of those.
Oh, you're awful impolite, Holiday.
Oh, you know me.
Uh-huh. Lay off the Kieran kid.
So, that's the purpose of this charming visit.
The other two guesses you don't need.
I suppose not.
Okay. Just remember, lay off the Kieran kid.
And if I don't want to?
Answer me a question, will you?
Gladly.
Is a guy's books worth more when he's dead than when he's alive?
Certainly. Production stops, limited supply greater than the demand.
Okay. Just don't make your heirs rich people. And you could do that, Holiday. Real easy.
Mm-hmm. It's something to think about, isn't it?
Yeah. Now stay right where you are. I'm going.
Oh, must you? It's been so romantic, conversation with a mysterious stranger in the dark.
I could have brought flowers, but you'll remember that a lot longer.
Okay, that did it. Now I knew Biff had a motive for admitting the robbery. But what the motive was, well, that was a different color on a different horse. I turned on the light. My pleasant partner in that little tete-a-tete had left a reminder. His ring had cut into my cheek and left a mark. For a couple of hours, I thought and thought. Finally, I figured out an angle. But I had to see Biff again to tie it up. So the next morning, I went back to see the kid. But just as I was rounding the corner of the corridor...
Okay, kid, now just keep a stiff upper lip, you see?
Biff had company. The voice of that turtle was the same as the guy who'd played tag with me the night before. And he had a ring on his finger. A big ring. I ducked back out of sight, let him pass by. Then I went to Biff.
You again.
Uh-huh. I want to talk to you.
But I don't want to talk to you, mister.
Had company, didn't you?
Company? No, I didn't.
Come on now. Who was he, Biff?
Pal, a friend of mine. Now, get out of here and mind your own business.
I am. Your, pal gave me this.
Okay, so we hung one on you.
And I didn't like it.
So you should learn to mind your own business, I told you.
Listen, Biff. I was asked into this by your mother.
She don't know what she's doing. I mean, let her alone.
Biff, you're trying to be a tough guy, and it just doesn't hang right on you.
So I'll grow into it.
Sure, that's what I'm afraid of. That's what your mother's afraid of.
Shut up and beat it. And if you come around here again, I'll holler for the guard to back you out.
All right, then I'll talk to your mother.
No, don't go near her. She's all right now, but...
But what?
Nothing. Beat it. Are you going, or do I call a guard to throw you out of here?
Okay, Biff. I'll go. Well, Biff was afraid for his mother. That much I could guess. And he was willing to go to prison rather than deny he'd robbed that store. But how could a thing like that tie in with a mug who'd come to see me? The robbery was cheap stuff. Not likely that a hoodlum like my visitor would be mixed up in it. Was Biff taking the rap for him? Well, that couldn't be. So I went back to Kling.
Still beating your brains out, huh?
Yeah, I have other people do it for me now.
Yeah, I could see that. Nasty cut.
Yeah. Let me look at your rogues gallery.
Think you know the guy who slugged you?
You might recognize him. I got a short look at him in the jail today.
Okay. Here. Look through these. See anybody you know?
Not yet.
You got it?
Yeah. Who is this?
That? Yeah, let's see. Name Gilly Sistro. Strong-arm hood.
Who's he working for?
Freelance artist. Anybody can hire him.
High priced?
Not cheap.
That explains it.
It does? Okay, let me in on it, will you?
Look, whoever's behind this didn't want to use any of his own mugs. So you hired this Gilly to intimidate me.
I can pick him up for you.
Huh? Scare the rest of them off?
So, what's next?
Besides, Biff's afraid for his mother, Kling. That kid's protecting her. Why, I don't know. If you make a move to pick up Gilly, that'll make Biff's mother a sure setup.
That makes sense.
Listen, do me a favor, will you?
What?
Just have one of your boys tail Gilly. And when he lights someplace, let me know.
Wait a minute. Now, you could get hurt.
I was.
What are you going to do?
Stick my nose in where it belongs. I don't like Gilly. And I don't like what he stands for.
And now back to Delinquent's Dilemma, another Box 13 adventure with Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
I waited, and finally it came. Call from Kling telling me where I could pick up Gilly. I did and followed him. Maybe I was being followed too, but I had to take that chance. After all, there was nothing we could pin on Gilly, just entry and assault. But that wouldn't get to the thing that was putting Biff in a vice. Anyway, I followed Gilly, watched him go into an office building, found where he got off the elevator, waited until he left, and then...
Yes?
I'd like to see Mr.
Mr. who?
Mr. in the inner office.
What's your name?
Cecil Holling.
Holling?
Yes.
Just a moment. Come in, please.
Oh, thank you.
Your name's Holling?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, what can I do for you?
Need any brushes?
Huh?
Brushes. You see, I carry a full line.
Hey, what is this?
The brush off. My own little joke.
You crazy?
Well, Mr.
What's your angle, Holling?
Oh, do I need one?
Who sent you here?
Nobody. I found it all by myself.
Just stay right there. Eddie? Mac? Watch this character.
Hello, Eddie. Hello, Mac.
Now, talk, Mr. Holling.
Okay, this is a gag.
Is it?
Yeah, I guess I'm in the wrong office. I was supposed to pull a rib on somebody, and I guess I got in the wrong office. Well, sorry to bother you.
Just a minute.
Yeah?
Who sent you here?
Nobody. I told you, this is a gag. I guess it backfired.
You must have tried the gag too often. Somebody pasted you.
Oh, no.
Beat it.
Well, thanks a lot. Whew. I wondered if I'd talk myself out of that one. I didn't, because when I got downstairs to my car, I noticed a man following me. But I'd found out something. Gilly was working for the character in that office. And who was he? It took me 2 hours to shake the shadow, then I got back to Kling and told him.
You crazy fool. You dope.
But I found it, didn't I?
Sure, you found it.
Listen, they still don't know who I was.
How do you know that?
You wouldn't have let me out of that office, Kling.
You sure you ditched that shadow?
Yeah, I'm sure.
But if Gilly gets back, he'll find out, and he knows you.
Before that happens, what's the lineup?
The man you saw is Pete Voslin. Racketeer, gangster.
You got a record?
None that we could pin on him. He's smart, Dan. Little guys take the rap for him. He pays off when they get out.
And what's his angle in all this? How's he tied up with Biff Kieran? That kid certainly isn't a member of his gang.
No, at least I don't think so.
There's got to be an angle.
Wait a minute.
Huh? What have you got?
Listen, it was a big fur warehouse robbery.
Yeah?
It looked like one of Voslin's jobs. But there's nothing to tie him in. And there was a watchman killed.
When was that robbery and murder?
The night of the 16th.
What time?
About 11:30.
The 16th. That's the night of the store robbery. The one Biff's admitting to.
Yeah, sure. Suppose the kid was passing on his way home from that movie.
And saw the whole thing.
But he's afraid to talk.
Because they threatened his mother if he does.
The dirty heels. Listen, I'll send out a...
No, wait. Do that and you put Biff's mother on the spot. Get Biff here instead. I didn't dare go to Biff because, well, I might be followed. If Kling sent for him and in Kling's office.
I don't know nothing. Let me go back.
Now, Biff, your testimony is the only thing that'll give us a break.
I robbed that store that night. Now let me go back.
Biff, listen to me.
I ain't gonna listen to nobody. What are you trying to do? I told you I robbed the place.
What if we'd tell you the police have arrested the real robber?
That won't work. I know you haven't because I would have been let out.
Biff, we'll protect your mother. And you.
There ain't nothing to protect.
Kling, come here, will you? Let me talk to him. Alone, please.
Okay, Dan. Go ahead. I hope the day comes soon when kids will realize that the police aren't their enemies, but their friends.
Ain't gonna do any good, mister.
It's got to, Biff. Now listen. Don't say anything until I've finished, will you? Good. Now, you're protecting your mother, but you're also protecting something else.
Huh?
Mm-hmm. A gang of vicious men. You're protecting them from the law. You're protecting murders, Biff. You're giving them the chance to go out and do the same thing all over again. Don't you see that?
I ain't gonna say nothing. All I want to do is be let alone. I want to go back to the jail. Now, let me go.
Oh, please, Biff. You're about 16, and you've got a whole life ahead of you. But if you go to prison to protect crooks, what will you have? A record. Oh, sure, they'll say you didn't talk, you didn't squeal. They'll make a great guy out of you. But what'll it make of the men you're protecting? A bunch of arrogant, cocky parasites who got away with this?
You shut up! You shut up and leave me alone! I ain't gonna say nothing! I ain't!
Kling. Kling.
Yeah.
I'm finished.
Okay. Sergeant, take the kid back. Well?
No.
Oh, he's our only chance to put Voslin and his gang where they can grow a nice coat of mold.
Yeah, I know.
He's too scared.
He won't talk, Kling. He wouldn't talk if it killed him to keep quiet.
We've got the whole thing in our laps. We've got Voslin on a murder rap if that kid talks.
I know.
What's the matter?
Listen, I hate to say this, but we've got to double-cross Biff.
What have you got in mind, Dan?
Now, listen. Don't let anybody in to see him. Keep all the visitors away.
Why?
Because he's going to talk.
Are you crazy?
Listen, I've got friends at the Star Times. They're going to break a story that'll smoke Boslin out in the open where you can smash him.
You mean print a story about the kid talking?
Yeah, that's it.
But his mother...
We won't break the story until I'm there, with her.
Listen, you're crazy. Fool, those guys don't kid. Once they say they're going to do a thing, they'll do it. You let that story hit the street and they'll go through with it if it takes 10 years.
I know. But we know Biff won't talk, so keep visitors away from him. Voslin will try to get to his mother, don't you see? That's the only way he can really keep Biff from talking. Get his mother and hold her until the kid decides to keep quiet.
But...
No buts. We'll make the story look as though sensational developments are expected in the fur warehouse murder. Just enough to make Voslin think the kid might talk. I went to the Star Times and fixed up the story by promising the editor that the whole thing would be his front-page scoop, and on the level. I waited until the proofs were run. The story was just what we wanted. Only a hint that developments were expected. Then I drove to the neighborhood where Biff and his mother lived. There were no police around. It had to look legitimate. Then I went up to Mrs. Kern.
My boy. Poor Biff.
You'll be all right. The story's on the street now, Mrs. Kern. And we should be getting company.
Oh, I'm scared. Not for me, but for Biff.
He'll be all right. They can't get to him, and when this is all over, they won't be able to.
Well, what if something happens?
It won't. Now, turn out the light quick. Get into bed. Pretend to be asleep.
I can't.
Shh, be quiet. Lie there. Pretend to be asleep now.
You, wake up. Come on, wake up.
What do you want?
Never mind. Get up, get dressed. Come on.
Who are you?
I said never mind, get dressed.
My clothes are in the other room.
Get them.
Turn on the light.
You don't need light. Go ahead, get your clothes.
Yes.
And don't close the door between the rooms. And stay in the light from outside and step on it.
Still standing in the draft, Gilly?
Oh.
Nice meeting you again in the dark. Try it again, Gilly. Oh, no.
Drop it, Gilly, drop it. All right, don't shoot.
You all right, Dan?
Sure, as long as I had his gun hand. He was a little handicapped. Turn on the light, will you, Kling?
Right. Hey, Sergeant. Let the kid come in.
Biff! Oh,
Mom!
baby.
Mom, are you all right? Are you?
Yes, baby, I'm all right.
Oh, Mom, please don't call me baby. Please.
I was so worried about
Oh, Mom, it's so good to see you.
Kling.
I know you.
Kling.
What? Yeah, what's up?
Are you all right?
Me? Sure, but why?
You're smiling.
The grand jury returned a murder indictment against Pete Boslin and 10 others of his gang today. Evidence presented by the district attorney is sure to result in conviction of the notorious racketeer.
Well, that does it, Susie.
Gee, how did it feel to be alone in the dark with that awful man, Mr. Holliday?
I didn't have time to think about it, Susie. How would you have felt?
Well, Was he cute, Mr. Holliday?
Oh. Good night, Susie.
Next week, same time, through the courtesy of Paramount Pictures, Alan Ladd stars as Dan Holliday in Box 13. Box 13 is directed by Richard Sandville, with an original story by Russell Hughes, and original music composed and conducted by Rudy Schrager. The part of Susie is played by Sylvia Picker, and that of Lieutenant Kling by Edmund MacDonald. Production is supervised by Vern Karstensen. This is a Mayfair production from Hollywood. Watch for Alan Ladd in his latest Paramount picture. Box 13, with the star of Paramount Pictures, Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
Box 13, care of Star Times. I'm a stranger in your city. I don't know a soul here, but I'm in trouble. At least I think I am. I can't go back home until I know what happened to me yesterday and the day before. It's hard to explain in a letter, but if you'll come to 14 East Central Street, I can type it out.
But I do know. Believe me, I need help. And maybe you're the one. Jerry Fuller. He needed help, all right. At first, I didn't think he did. I went at the whole thing with my tongue in my cheek, but I put it back where it belonged. Fast.
And now, back to Box 13 and Dan Holliday's newest adventure, Flash of Light.
Mr. Holliday. Why can't he go back home? And what does he mean until he finds out what happened to him?
Just that he's lost 2 days out of his life.
Nobody can do that.
You know, you should go to the movies more often, Susie. Sometimes you get an Academy Award for losing a weekend.
Well, if you ask me, this Jerry Fuller sounds pretty silly. 2 days are hard to mislay. Besides, maybe he's just making a mountain out of a moleskin.
I was wondering when you'd finally kick one around. Now I can leave. For number 14 East Central Street and Mr. Jerry Fuller. East Central Street ran through the part of town where the kids played tiddlywinks with manhole covers. And number 14 was no Ritz, cheap, shabby rooming house to which paint was just all lang syne. Finding Jerry Fuller was no problem. The landlord pointed down the hallway, and 15 minutes later, Jerry Fuller finished telling me his story. Maybe I looked skeptical because...
You don't believe me, do you?
Oh, sure, I believe the part about the blackout, but...
But you believe I was drunk, is that it?
Well, you admitted having a few.
But not enough to knock me out for a couple of days.
Okay. I'll tell you, and you see how it sounds. You had 2 cocktails before dinner. After dinner, you wandered into the Red Swan and... Say, why did you pick the swankiest spot in town?
Well, just to tell the folks back home I'd been there.
Uh-huh. So you had another drink there. Maybe 2?
All right, 2.
3?
2, I said.
Okay, take 2. They're small. But were you alone at the Red Swan?
Well, maybe I talked to somebody, like people do at bars, but I was alone.
Remember to whom you talked?
No.
Remember anything at all?
Well, I don't know, but I kind of remember a flash of light. It sticks in my head.
Flash of light? I've got another flash for you. That was your second drink.
Look, I can't go back home until I know what happened.
Maybe you'd better tell me why not.
Well, all right, I guess maybe it's better if you do know.
So Jerry told me a story that had happened a million times before.
3 days ago.
A small-town kid in a big city.
I'm gonna be
And a few drinks that were like dynamite to a kid who never had anything stronger than malted milks. And there was a girl. A girl he couldn't remember. And another girl back home. The girl he was supposed to marry. I listened and knew every word that was coming. I could have even added a few that he had left out. But when he finished...
And that's why I can't go to the police. If I did, they'd have to wire back home for...
Verification of your identity?
Well, that's it. And everybody back home would know, find out.
I know this is throwing cold water in your face, Jerry, but don't you think you'd better take your medicine? Chalk up the experience to experience.
Oh, now, wait a minute. Look, my wallet.
What about it?
Every cent I had, even my ticket back home, is gone.
You did a good job.
Listen, if you or anybody else can prove I was robbed, then I've got an explanation. I've got a reason.
Okay, I'll give it a whirl. But I think it's cut and dried before we get around to it. Now, the first thing to do is to get you out of this fire trap.
But where can I go?
My apartment. I'll lend you the money to get back home.
I won't go back home until I know what happened, how I got here, and why.
All right, Jerry. Leave it at that. Now, come on. Hey, wait, where's your baggage?
Well, I checked it at the depot before I went to the Red Swan.
Oh, I'll pick it up for you. Now, come on, let's get out of here. Sure, I humored him. The poor kid was scared stiff, and like any frightened kid, was building up a big thing in his mind. But there was one thing that bothered me. The place Jerry said he had been in before he blanked out, the Red Swan. It wasn't a hangout for cheap crooks and nickel snatchers. It was ultra-swank, and the odds were heavy against anyone taking him over the boards in there. Okay, maybe he went somewhere else afterward. We got to the front door, and I sent Jerry to the car to wait for me.
Hello.
Well, hello.
What's your name?
Dan, what's yours?
Kitty.
Okay, Kitty. Is your daddy in?
Uh-huh.
What's the matter? Who are you?
Remember me?
Yeah, you find the guy?
Yeah.
He was with a real pretty lady.
Shut up, Kitty. Go back in the kitchen.
All right.
She's a cute little kid.
So? That what you come to tell me?
I didn't come to tell you anything. I want to ask.
What?
Who brought Jerry Fuller here?
Dame?
Sure of that?
Yeah, sure, I'm sure. That all you want to know?
That all you can tell me?
What else?
Was he drunk?
Mister, I didn't ask him.
Who was the girl?
I didn't stop to get introduced. Look, she brings him here, says she's his wife, gives me a couple of days' rent, that's it.
Did she leave right away?
What do you want from me, a quiz game?
Did she leave right away?
I don't know. I showed him the room, I got my dough. I don't push questions, see?
She gave you 2 days' rent, huh?
So long, mister.
What'd you do up there, Mr. Holliday?
Got unpopular? Okay, Jerry, now we'll go to my apartment.
Yes, a lot. Thanks.
Well, we'd better see about shipping you back home.
Oh, but you said you were going to help.
I am, and the best way I do that is to ship you out of the big city. You come back in, say, 10 years.
You think I'm just a kid that got in bad, don't you?
Well, you were at the church social for 2 days, Jerry.
And I'm telling you, I was robbed.
So you were.
What can I tell the folks back home?
What you told me.
Oh, you don't understand, Mr. Holliday. Mr. Simmons.
Mr. Simmons? Who's he?
He's Millie's father.
Oh? And Millie, I take it, is the girl back home.
You're making fun of me.
No, I'm not, Jerry, not at all. But the best thing you can do is face the music. You won't be able to dance to it, but, well, it's the best way.
I don't know.
Now, you wait here. I'll run to the depot and get your baggage. Here, yeah. Got the check for it?
Yeah. It's the only thing they left me. I had it in the inside compartment of my wallet.
All right, Jerry. Now that we've got it figured, you'll feel better. I'll see you later. You'll feel better, I said. Everybody makes mistakes, but just how big can they get? I went to the depot, picked up the one valise Jerry had left there, and hurried back to my apartment. The automatic elevator was just coming down to ground level and... Oops. I'm sorry.
Yeah? How sorry?
I beg your pardon?
What for? Keep your eyes in front, pal, and you won't run into people.
Just a minute. You came out of that elevator a little too fast.
So? That's the way I always move. Objections?
I might have.
Like what?
You don't live in the building, do you?
Nah, I own it. So long, punk. I mean, so long, Holiday.
Holiday? I didn't know him, but he knew me, and he came from upstairs. Something told me that character had been in my apartment. I got in the elevator, pressed the floor button. I never realized until then how slow those things can move. Then... Jerry! Jerry, what happened?
Nothing.
Look at me, Jerry. I said, look at me. Oh, no.
I'm all right.
Yeah, sure, you're all right. Like you ran into a meat chopper. Jerry, who was that man?
There wasn't anybody.
Now, listen to me. There was somebody here. He just left.
I tell you, there wasn't anybody. Give me my valise.
Give me now. Sit down.
Let me go.
Be quiet now. Be quiet now. Sit down. Now, why did he go for you?
Nobody did.
Sure. You poked your face in an electric fan to see the pretty blades go around. Come on, Jerry, talk.
I'm going back home.
Wherever that was, saw us at the place I picked you up. Followed us, waited until I left, then came up here. What did he say? What do you want?
Nothing.
I cut it out. You wanted help, I'll give it now.
I don't want it. All I want to do is get out of here and go back home.
All right, Jerry. But you've got to get cleaned up first.
Yeah.
Go in the bathroom, wash up. Got to change your shirts in this valise.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
You're gonna let me go?
Why not? You won't talk. You won't let me help.
Oh, Mr. Holliday, believe me,
Are we going to say?
Nothing. I'll get cleaned up.
Okay, Jerry. Have it your way.
Sure, and... Thanks. Thanks anyway.
Towels in the back of the door.
Honest, Mr. Holliday, I appreciate what you've done, but I know now I just got to go back and do like you said.
Yeah, sure be a good little boy and wander back home.
I can finish cleaning up on the train.
Let me see your wallet.
What?
You got to have money. Count it as a loan. Send it back later.
Oh, sure, here.
Now, suppose you answer a question.
Huh? Oh, what?
How do you explain this? Your railroad ticket. It's back.
Well, I guess I must have overlooked it before.
Stop lying.
I'm not.
Okay. Here. $10, your wallet, your valise. Now, there's the door.
You're mad, huh?
So long, Jerry.
Goodbye.
Police headquarters. Griffin speaking.
Lieutenant Kling, please.
Homicide, Kling.
Hello, Kling. This is Dan.
Well, my heart's desire. What are you...
We'll make with the jokes and funny patter some other time. Right now, I want to work fast.
Huh?
A man just left my apartment. He's on his way to the railroad station. Pick him up.
Are you nuts?
Here's what he looks like. 5'7", light brown hair. Wears horn-rimmed glasses. No hat, dark blue serge suit, carrying a suitcase with the initials JF on it, a foot high. Even some of your boys could spot it.
Now take a breath and listen to me. I can't order a guy picked up because you want to play games. You gotta have a charge.
Pick him up and I'll sign the complaint later. You'll find my wallet in his valise.
And now back to Flash of Light, another Box 13 adventure with Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
It was a nasty way to keep Jerry in town, but it was the only way to keep him and still tuck him away where he wouldn't be the target for the night. Kling and I asked him questions, but if he'd been scared before, he was twice as scared now. And the second scare was big enough to make him forget what he wanted to find out. Why he had been Mickeyed and packed off into that boarding house on East Central. But I was real curious about it, and because Kling had nothing to work on, I was on my own. I went back to East Central Street. I knew I wouldn't get anything out of the landlord, but I spotted little Kitty. And I remembered something she had said, so I asked her.
Uh-huh. And there was a real pretty lady.
Well, did you hear her name, Kitty?
Uh-uh.
Do you remember if she left right away?
Uh-huh. She did.
In a car?
Oh, it was a taxi cab. Why?
I want to find her.
She had red hair and a real pretty fur coat.
Oh, well, that's nice. But when she got into the taxi, Kitty, were you near her?
Uh-huh. I like to look at her red hair and her pretty coat.
Now, think carefully, Kitty. Did you hear her say anything to the driver of that taxi?
Uh-huh.
What?
She told him where to go.
Where?
Where she told him.
Oh, I know, but where did she tell him? What did she say?
245.
245 what?
Well, that's the number of the street, I guess.
Did you hear the street?
Uh-huh.
What was it?
It wasn't a street. She said avenue.
All right, Kitty, that's fine so far. Now, what was the name of the avenue?
245.
That's the number of the avenue.
Uh-uh.
You just said it was.
Oh, no, I didn't. I said 245 Avenue.
What avenue?
245.
Look, Kitty,
I gotta go play now. Goodbye, miss.
Kitty, wait, Well, that was that. Dead end. And I was 10 minutes and 2 miles away when it hit me. Kitty was right. The number was 245th Avenue. A half hour later, I was there, and it took $10 to bribe the clerk in the apartment house to give me the name of the real pretty lady with the red hair and pretty fur coat. And a couple of minutes later...
That you, Marty?
Yeah, Beth?
What's the idea of showing up this late? Hey,
And a hi, nani.
what's the idea?
Oh, pardon the intrusion.
You get out of here. Who are you, anyway?
I'm the man who makes the survey.
Survey? What survey?
Are you listening to your radio?
What do you want?
Answers. Have you got any?
You ain't a cop.
Expecting one?
Get out.
Sit down, Beth. I've got questions to ask about a kid named Jerry Fuller. Nobody could call you Little Poker Face.
Meaning what?
Meaning that name was a direct hit.
You're crazy. Now you get out of here before I call a cop.
Okay. Alexander Graham Bell was a great man. He saved us a lot of steps and bother. Go on. Call the police.
Oh, you don't think I will, huh?
Maybe. But when they get here, they might ask questions about Jerry Fuller and why he was drugged, framed, and holed up on East Central.
I said you're crazy.
Oh, yes, I know you did. Well?
Listen, I don't know who you are or what you're doing here, but I'm going to give you a break. You don't look like a bad guy. Maybe a nut, but you can go and we'll forget this.
I don't want to forget it.
I'll take it from here, Beth.
Well, hello. If it isn't my elevator friend.
How did you get here, Holiday?
I drove. Why?
I thought maybe you crawled, because that might be the way you get out.
Marty, don't start nothing here,
Shut
please.
up! What did you do, leave a trail, dope?
No, I don't know how this guy got here.
What are you doing here, Holiday?
I want to know why that kid Jerry Fuller was framed the way he was.
Just curious, Holiday?
Maybe.
You don't know, huh? Okay, so you don't know. That's nice and healthy for you, Holiday. Because if you did know, well, you forced your way in here, and I have a perfect right to use this.
I could find out.
Maybe from your pal Fuller, huh?
Mm-hmm. Could be.
Okay, go ask him. But get out of here and don't come back again, or I might not be so nice about it. Come on, beat it.
I might be back.
I might be waiting.
Maybe you let me in on a secret, Holiday. Just where are you heading?
Kling, I want to talk to Jerry Fuller.
Fuller? You kidding? We let him out.
Out? I told you I'd show up and sign the complaint.
Sure, then Susie walks in and tells us you've decided not to sign a complaint. No charge.
Susie?
Yeah, Susie.
Let me use your phone.
Why not? You've used the whole police department. Why stop at a phone?
Hello?
Susie?
Oh, hello, Mr. Holliday. Where are you?
Never mind that. Did you go to the police and tell them to drop my charge against Jerry Fuller?
Well, yes.
Why?
Because you told me to.
I told you to. Susie, what's the matter with you?
But you did. That I should go to the police and tell them you didn't want to.
Oh, okay, Susie.
Did I do something wrong? Or right?
It doesn't matter now.
Well, didn't she?
Yeah, but it's not her fault. It looked like a legitimate message from me because she knew I got that letter from Jerry Fuller.
Oh, now I get it. Box 13 again. I'm not superstitious, but I'm going to be if I know you much longer.
Listen, somebody wanted Fuller out of here. Out of the way because that somebody is afraid of what Fuller knows. Now what?
How do I know? I just got off the bench to come in the game.
Kling, that kid's in danger. We've got to find him.
Maybe you better start from the beginning so I can at least look intelligent about it.
All right. Fuller sent a letter to Box 13. He wanted me to help him because he was afraid to go back home before he knew what had happened.
All right. That's the story. But Fuller can't know anything because he said he was blanked out.
We've got to find him. There must be something he knows.
Okay, hold on. Sergeant, get a description of Jerry Fuller from the clerk. Left here about half hour ago. Put out a dragnet for him. Watch bus, railroad, plane terminals. Right away.
Good boy.
Now, one more thing. This Marty character you talked about. Short?
Yeah. He's stocky, little scar on his chin. Clothes were neat, but gaudy.
I thought so. Marty Kane.
Oh, you know him?
Every police department in the country knows him. Killer, hired by anyone who can pay his price.
Killer? Got anything on him?
No, Stooley's tipped us off he was in town. 2 days after he gets here, Billy Dufresne was killed.
Dufresne?
Yeah, he was going to be state's witness against Billy Farn. We thought nobody knew it. Oh, we gave Dufresne protection, but not enough. Kane got to him.
And you lose the fraud case against Farn.
Yeah.
But if we can get Fuller back, you'll have a case against Kane and Farn.
If Fuller talks.
What do we do now?
If you got any fingernails left, start working on them while we wait.
We waited 2 hours, then 3 hours. Kling and I stared at each other, each of us afraid of, well, to say what he was thinking. That Jerry Fuller would be dead when they found him. There was one point against that, though. The fact that it must have been Marty Kane who went to Susie with that fake message from me. She could identify him. And if Fuller was killed...
Let me go. I tell you, let me go. I didn't do anything.
That's all, Sergeant. I'll take over. Come on in, Fuller.
What have you got me back here for?
Mr. Holliday.
Look, Jerry, you're a very lucky boy you're not decorating the bottom of the river right now.
You're safe here, kid. Nobody can get at you here.
What do you want? I don't know anything.
Maybe you do.
I told you I don't. I was on my way home. Why
Jerry.
don't you let me...
Jerry, that night in the Red Swan, what did you see or hear that put Marty Kane after you?
I don't know any Marty Kane. I never even heard the name before.
He was the man who beat you up in my apartment.
I didn't know him. I never saw him before in my...
But you did. Why did you stop talking just then?
I don't know. Maybe I talked to him at the cocktail bar at the Red Swan. I don't know.
You talked to him at the Red Swan. Did he tell you anything about a man named Dufresne?
Free? No, I tell you, it's all hazy.
Look, Dan, a guy like Kane wouldn't pay to anybody. Just doesn't make sense.
And why is Kane anxious to get Jerry out of town?
If this kid knew anything, Kane wouldn't let him live 10 seconds.
And what's the angle? Jerry, did you ever hear of a man named Billy Farn?
No, I didn't. And I don't know why Kane's after me. All I want to do is go home.
Wait a minute. Fuller, when did you get into town?
4 days ago, the 10th.
The 10th? You sure?
Yes.
What's the matter with that, Kling?
Everything. Because Dufresne was killed on the 5th. 5 days before this kid even got near this town.
That made it better than ever for people who like puzzles that don't fit together. But there had to be a reason for the whole thing, and because I believed that, I headed for the Red Swan. I went to the cocktail bar and looked around. I didn't know what I expected to find, but, well, maybe nothing. Then there was a flash of light. A flash of light. A flash bulb set off by a camera girl, one of those who take pictures in nightclubs. And that was it. 2 flashes of light, one from the bulb and another in my head when the idea hit me. It took me 10 minutes to find the man who owned the concession.
Yes, sir. We keep all negatives. They're numbered and dated.
Got the ones for the night of the 12th?
Sure, but I can't show them to you.
Oh, look. Check first with Lieutenant Kling, police. He'll tell you it's okay for me to look through those negatives and find the one I want. How big can you project this thing, Kling?
As big as you want. The lab made a positive from the neg you got. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Big enough?
Plenty. Jerry, recognize that picture?
Yeah. I had the girl take one of me at the bar for a souvenir to take back home.
But you haven't got that picture now.
Well, no, I forgot all about it.
Jerry, at the bar, you were a little tipsy. You got talkative. You showed the picture to somebody. Was it Kane?
Well, I don't know. It could have been.
So what, Dan? What's this picture got to do with it?
Don't look at Jerry, Kling. Look at the figures in the background. Enlarge it a little more.
That what you want? Hey, that's Marty Kane.
Yeah, taking money from someone.
And that someone is Billy Farn's leg man.
Well, you got your case, Kling. Farn's leg man paying off Kane for killing Dupree.
Better look at it in the light, Dan. This picture shows Kane getting money. Okay, so what? A smart lawyer could make up a dozen reasons. Kane won it from Farn. He was getting change from the leg man.
But coupled with this business about Jerry Fuller, it would stand up in court.
Fuller hasn't been hurt. Kane was smart that way.
Yeah, Hey, listen. You want a case.
But how?
Let me have that negative and listen to your Uncle Dan for a few minutes. Good evening, Marty.
So, you did come back, huh?
Uh-huh. Want to talk to me?
Sure, come on in.
Oh, leaving town, Marty? So you're all packed.
Maybe you better do the same.
I like it here.
You must. Now beat it.
I thought you were smart, Marty.
What?
You got the picture from Jerry Fuller, but there's always the negative. You've got a much better poker face than your girlfriend. But you've batted an eyelash.
Marty, who is it? Oh, you.
Sit down and stay out of the way, Beth.
Well, Marty?
So you got the negative, huh?
Maybe. You should have thought of it. But that's the trouble with you smart boys. You play ring around the rosy and get yourselves dizzy.
What's your angle?
Nothing. Oh, and before you pull that trigger, there are cops all around this place.
Marty.
Shut up. This guy's pulling a bluff.
So? Now, why don't you be smart this time, Marty, and go along quietly? The police could use your evidence.
Turned stooly, huh? Nothing doing.
Marty, come back.
You'll see him again, Beth. Let him run.
Don't kill him. They did. They killed him.
Oh, no, Beth. Kling's too good a shot to kill his best witness.
But what about Jerry? Did he go back home?
That he did, Susie. And right now, he's probably a hero in his hometown.
Gee, and all because of a flash in the pan.
Huh?
I made a joke. Get it? Face, pan. Flash in the pan.
Oh, good night, Susie.
Next week, same time, through the courtesy of Paramount Pictures, Alan Ladd stars as Dan Holliday in Box 13. Box 13 is directed by Richard Sandville, with an original story by Russell Hughes. Original music is composed and conducted by Rudy Schrager. The part of Susie is played by Sylvia Pickard, and that of Lieutenant Kling by Edmund MacDonald. Production is supervised by Vern Karstensen. This is a Mayfair production from Hollywood. Watch for Alan Ladd in his latest Paramount picture. Box 13, with the star of Paramount Pictures, Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
You idiot, you fool. You let him get away.
I did not, Worker. What could I do? He was in the post office.
Did he have the envelopes?
Of course he did. He sent them to someone.
Sent them? And he's got away. Oh, Staley, you are an idiot.
No, not quite. Look, I've got a blotter.
Well, what good's that?
Look, in the mirror. What he wrote on the envelope was on the blotter.
Well, at least you use your head. I'll see if we can read it. Box 13, care of Star Times. Box 13, Star Times. There's no Star Times in this city.
But there is in the city he sent his letter to.
You're right. Well, we'll find him later. But first, I think I can get what we want from this Box 13.
And now, back to Box 13 and Dan Holliday's newest adventure, Hare and Hounds.
Okay, I'll see you later then. So long.
Hello, Mr. Holliday.
Oh, hiya, Susie. Got the mail?
And what do you got there?
8 nice new counterfeit $5 bills.
How'd you get them?
Well, you see, I had my eyes closed when they were passed on to me. I'm turning them over later to the police. Now, how about the mail?
Oh, here. And you know, Mr. Holliday, I had the funniest feeling while I was coming back here at the office from the Star Times.
What do you mean?
I had a kind of demolition.
You mean you blew your top?
Huh?
What do you mean, demolition?
You know, like when you think something's happening or going to happen.
Oh, premonition.
I had it.
Well, why?
I felt like I was being followed. I felt eyes looking at me when I was in the Star Times getting the mail.
And you were followed?
It felt like it.
Okay, that makes you a big girl now. Let's have the mail, huh?
Yes, sir. 12 letters.
Slim pickings.
It was such a funny feeling.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, look here. An out-of-town letter.
I know. I thought, oh.
A little nervous this morning, Susie.
I guess so.
Come in.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
May I come in?
Oh, please do.
I hope this is not too much of an intrusion, but I...
May I do something for you?
Well, maybe. Is this your advertisement in the Star Times? Adventure Wanted will go any place to anything, Box 13?
That's right.
So you are Box 13?
Yes.
I had a different picture of you, Mr.
Holliday. Dan Holliday.
Oh, my name is Worker, Thomas Worker.
Oh, I saw you at the Star Times. You were the one who was looking at me.
Yes, I guess I was.
You followed me.
It was charming work.
And you... Oh, thank you.
May I ask why you followed my secretary, Mr. Worker?
Curiosity. You see, I've been noticing your ad for weeks now. It runs day after day. Well, naturally, I wanted to see you, what you look like, and why you put the ad in the paper.
Oh, is that all?
Yes, that's all. Foolish?
No.
Tell me, Mr. Holliday, do you get the adventure you advertise for?
Sometimes.
Do you receive many replies to your ad?
Usually, yes.
But you cannot follow them all.
Well, no. Do you have any particular reason for asking all these questions, Mr. Worker?
No, but I lead such a prosaic life myself that your ad intrigued me. I finally got up enough courage to go to the Star Times and wait for someone to collect the mail from Box 13.
I see. And now that you found me...
Well, perhaps you'd care to have dinner with me some evening and tell me some of your adventures. Oh, I'd like to hear them very much. I'm very lonely and...
All right, Mr. Worker. I'd be glad to.
Oh, thank you. Now I must be going. Sorry to have troubled you. And I hope I didn't frighten you, young lady.
Oh, no. It was kind of fun.
Oh, my umbrella. One can never tell when it might rain. Well, good day, Mr. Holliday, and thank you so much. Don't bother to get up. I'll look you up in the phone book and call you.
Please do. Goodbye.
What a nice man.
Uh-huh. Funny old duck. Well, let's open the mail, Susie, and... Hey.
Huh? What's the matter?
Where's that letter from out of town?
It's right on top of the pile where you put it.
But it's not
What's the matter, Mr. Holliday?
He's gone.
What do you mean? Sure he's gone,
And that letter went with him.
He took it.
His umbrella was on top of the pile. Oh, what a nice old man.
Gee, he stole a letter.
Yeah, and something tells me, Susie, that Mr. Worker will never invite me to have that dinner with him. Sure, Worker took the letter. But why? What was in it? Why was it so important? And who sent it? Well, I kept asking myself those questions, and then 3 days after that little visit from Worker, Susie came bursting into the office.
Oh, Mr. Holliday, look. Here's another letter from the same place. I mean, it looks like the same handwriting.
Yeah, it does. Hey, Susie.
Huh?
You weren't followed this time, were you?
I made sure.
Oh, good.
What's it say, Mr. Holliday?
Well, listen. 3 days ago, I sent you a letter containing a sealed envelope. It contained half of something which is very important to me. It was imperative that I get rid of it until I could get to safety.
Gee.
I'm all right now, so send the sealed envelope to 243 Marlowe Avenue, Bridgeport. Arthur Holmes.
Now what are you going to do, Mr. Holliday?
Do? Well, I can't send him the envelope because I haven't got it. And I can't find Mr. Worker because I've got a sneaking hunch that he'll be a little scarce.
Maybe you better write to Mr. Holmes.
Oh, no, Susie. This looks too good to be handled by a letter. I'm going to find out a few things by seeing Mr. Holmes in person. I went to Bridgeport, found 243 Marlowe Avenue. It was an apartment house. There was no clerk at the desk, but there was a tier of mailboxes. One of them belonged to Arthur Holmes in apartment 6B. So, a couple of minutes later... Mr. Holmes? Oh, Mr. Holmes? I tried the door. It wasn't locked. The apartment was dark. I was fumbling for the light switch when... If I say I was fresh as a daisy after that thump on my head, I'd never get to be the father of my country. I was lying on the floor. The room was still dark except for a flashing light that came from a store sign across the street. I lay there for a minute to give the room a little time to stop spinning, then I realized I was holding something in my hand. And from where I lay, it felt like a gun. I was just crawling to my feet when...
Mr. Holmes, I've come with the fresh towels. Mr. Holmes.
I wanted to clear up a lot more before anyone found me. I ducked behind the door and waited.
Mr. Holmes?
Why did you scream? Well, who wouldn't? The room was a shambles. Someone had searched it. And lying on the bed in an alcove was a man who certainly would have no further interest in me. Or anything else. There was a hole in his forehead. And I was sure I held the gun that put it there. Sure, I was innocent. But I'd have a hard time proving that. Figure it out. I received the letter from Holmes. Instead of writing, I went to him. I didn't wait for the clerk in the building to call up first. I ducked behind the door when the cleaning woman came in. Maybe I should have gone to the police right away, but I was innocent. And I wanted to learn a bit more. Besides, the cleaning woman reported the murder. So a half hour later, I was drinking a cup of coffee in an all-night hamburger
That
stand.
winds up the late news for tonight. The next edition of the new... Oh, just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. We have a last-minute flash. A murder was committed tonight in the Roxmore Apartments. Police are looking for a man who answers this description. Medium height, light hair, wearing dark gray flannel suit, blue and white striped necktie, black shoes, carrying light tan topcoat. The description of the wanted man was given to the police by the clerk, who remembers this man asking for the apartment of the murdered man, Arthur Holmes. And that's all for tonight. The next edition of the news...
Another murder. Hear it, mister?
Yeah,
Getting so a person can't feel safe no more.
you're so right.
More coffee?
No, thanks. No, thanks.
Pie? Cake?
Nothing, thank you.
They ought to get that guy that done it pretty soon.
You think so?
Sure. He ain't gonna get far. Well, every cop in the city will be looking for a guy wearing a gray suit with blue and white.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, here's your dime.
Yeah, thanks.
What's the matter?
You...
Don't say it.
What are you gonna do?
Walk out of here.
Sure.
You stay right where you are and you won't get hurt. Just keep talking to me.
Mister, I ain't got nothing to say.
And don't say it.
Sure.
If it makes you feel any better, I didn't kill that man.
Well, I ain't said you did. The police said it. They could be wrong. Sure, they could be wrong.
Yeah, that's right. Now stay right where you are. Don't say a word to either of the other two in here until I'm out of sight. Understand?
Sure. Good night, mister. Come again. Hey, that's him. That's the guy. Somebody call the police.
Hey, taxi. Know where the park is?
Yeah, sure.
We'll drive to it fast.
Yeah. Hey, stop that guy. Somebody, let's not get in the gas. Stop him. What's all that noise about?
I haven't the least idea.
Park, huh? Okay. I'd sure like to know what all that noise was about.
Well, they're playing a game.
Huh?
Mm-hmm, sure. Hare and Hounds. Ever hear of it?
Oh, yeah. I played it when I was a kid.
Huh. Then I've got news for you. It's no longer a kid's game. Mistake number 2 for Smart Boy Holiday. Another notch against me. I ran from the hamburger stand. Well, that would look bad. But I've got one bad fault among others. I'm very curious. And I was so curious to know how and why the clerk at the apartment house identified me when he didn't even see me. But if somebody paid him off to enlarge this beautiful frame around my neck, well, we'd see.
Hey, mister, I've been thinking. Ain't that Hare and Hounds game a little young for grown-ups?
I told you it wasn't a kid's game anymore.
The whole world's gone nuts.
We agree. Say, pull up here, will you?
I thought you wanted to go to the park.
It's dark there.
Huh? Well, it's dark all over. It gets that way at night, mister.
Maybe you've got something there. Oh, pull up here by the drugstore. Here you are. Keep the change.
Hey, a $5. Well, thanks, buddy.
Now, don't mention it.
I won't. Not even to the missus.
When the cab drove away, I then went into the drugstore to the phone booth. I looked up the Roxmore Apartments in the book and dialed the number. Hello. Roxmore Apartments? Is Eddie there? Eddie? He's the clerk there, isn't he? Who? Charlie. Charlie who? Madison? No, Eddie's the clerk there. Okay. Keep you, Charlie. Madison. Charles Madison. There were 3 Charles Madisons in the book. Okay. Maybe one of the 3 was the one I wanted. I left the drugstore and went back out at the street. And as I did, the cab I just got out of drove up.
Hey, you, wait a minute.
Well, this was it.
Hey, you.
So, you want to play Hare and Hounds too, huh? Well, I'm sorry, but I warned you.
Now, wait a minute.
It's no longer a kid's game, not the way I play it.
Back to Hare and Hounds, another Box 13 adventure with Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
Well. I was adding black marks against my name faster than I could explain them away. And I knew the police would be listening in on the Roxmore switchboard. I hope my act had worked. Now, all I had to do was find the right Charlie Madison and get his story. An hour and a half and 2 Charlie Madisons later.
I'm Charlie Madison.
Clerk at the Roxmore?
Yeah, why?
I'm a writer. I'd like to get your story.
Oh, sure. Come on in.
You're married, Mr. Madison?
No.
You live alone?
Sure.
Swell. Get your coat and hat, Charlie.
What for?
I'll feel safer out on the street, away from here.
I don't get it.
Don't you recognize me, Charlie?
What are you giving me? I never saw you before in my life.
For a guy who never saw me before in his life, you give a pretty accurate description to the police.
You're...
Yeah, I am.
Help!
Now listen, Charlie. You're not going to get hurt if you play good boy. Don't try another yell.
You're breaking my arm.
Mm-hmm. one more peep out of you, and I'll work my way up to your neck.
What do you want from me?
Information. Now, come on. I want to be out of here when the police arrive. Let's go, Charlie. I'm right behind you, and I've got a gun.
Sure.
Is there a back way out of here?
Turn to the right.
Where does this alley lead to?
To the street.
Then we go the other way.
Oh, listen, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe you ain't the guy I saw.
I know that, Charlie. There are other things. All right, stop here. It's dark enough.
What are you going to do?
Nothing. You're going to talk. Now, what do you know about Holmes?
Nothing. You only lived at the Roxmore 2 days.
Just moved in?
Yeah?
Now, who paid you to identify me?
Nobody.
No? Who paid you?
I don't know who he was.
Was his name Worker?
I don't know, honest. I don't know.
Is he short, gray hair, little mustache?
Yeah.
His name's Worker, isn't it?
I don't know his name.
I guess you don't. But he paid you to say that you saw me go into the Holmes apartment, huh? Hey?
Yeah. Now let me go.
Oh, no, Charlie. We've got work to do. Where's the nearest payphone?
Down the street on the corner.
Okay, I'll furnish the nickel and you furnish the talk.
I don't get it. What do you want me to do now?
Help me smoke this work out into the open.
What for?
I told you, Charlie. I didn't kill Holmes. But I'd have a tough time making anyone believe that after the ring around the rosy I played tonight. Work is the boy I want. Now get moving. Now remember what you're going to say, Charlie.
Yeah, sure.
The police will trace this call. Don't let them make you repeat anything. It's a trick to hold you here until they can trace where this call comes from. Just say what
Shh. Hello, police? This is Charles Madison. Listen, there's something else I didn't tell you. There's another man in the Holmes murder, and I said there's...
Don't repeat. Keep talking.
Look for a man below medium height. Gray hair. Little mustache. I don't know his name. But he carries an umbrella and he wears glasses. That's all. What?
Hang up.
Well, you didn't hear the last part.
He heard it all right. Let's get out of here.
Can I go home now?
Oh, no, Charlie. I'm beginning to be real fond of you.
What are you going to do now?
You like taxi cabs, Charlie?
Huh?
We're going to ride in one cab after another till the morning papers come out.
What for?
The papers will carry the latest in the Holmes murder, including your description of the mysterious little man with gray hair, whose name is Worker.
But Worker will come after me.
Now you're beginning to be bright about the whole thing.
You'll kill me.
Yes, like he did Holmes.
Oh, you won't let him. You gotta let me go.
You know, Charlie, I can't seem to work up a flood of tears for you. You framed me for money. I wouldn't have had a chance if the cleaning woman had seen me in Holmes's apartment with this gun in my hand.
Well, I'll say I lied.
Think a minute, Charlie. If you do that, it'll make you an accessory after the fact.
What's that mean?
Simply that the police would hold you equally as guilty as Worker. Or me.
Well, then what'll I do?
You know, Charlie, I'm a very curious-minded person. I could go to the police, but I'd rather play it through my way. Smoke Worker out in the open and see what this is all about.
But how?
Well, as long as Worker knows you can identify him, he'll try to find you. Get you. But if you don't go to the police, he'll know you're around somewhere, Charlie. By the way, Charlie, how does it feel to be another Hare in the game? All right, pull up here, driver. Come on, Charlie, you tired of riding?
It's almost day.
Yeah. A stack of morning papers on the corner. Here you are, driver. Keep the change. Charlie, there's nothing gloomier than a city just before dawn. I'll get one of those papers.
Where are we going then?
Who knows? I've seen the whole city. Go on, get the paper.
They're tied up.
Untie them.
Yeah. Here you are.
Did you leave a nickel?
Huh?
You have a dishonest streak in you, Charlie. Come on, leave a nickel for the paper. All right, down this alley. Okay, in this doorway. Now we'll see what the papers have to say. Well, you're in, Charlie. Listen. Mysterious disappearance of Charles Madison has led the police to suspect foul play. See, Charlie?
What else does it say?
Oh, here it is. Madison called the police late last night with another tip in the murder of Arthur Holmes. Madison volunteered the description of another man whose name he said he did not know. Meanwhile, police revealed Holmes...
What's the matter? Why'd you stop?
Meanwhile, police revealed Holmes' real name to be Albert Henning, former draftsman at the Bull Mill Aircraft Company. Henning disappeared over a week ago, and executives of the aircraft company stated that Henning was suspected of having taken micro photographs of plans for the Navy's new twin-jet fighter.
He was a spy.
Uh-huh. And that's what he sent to Box 13. He didn't want to be caught with the photographs on him, so he used me as a hideout until he could send for them.
I don't know what you're talking about. All I know is we got to go to the police now.
You're so right, Charlie. You're so right. Come on, I'm through playing games. This has grown a little bigger than Box 13.
Both of you, stay where you are.
It's him. It's Worker.
Yeah.
Don't try to use your gun, Mr. Holliday.
It's not my gun. It's yours. The one you killed Henning or Holmes with.
That's right.
How'd you find us?
Simple. You see, Mr. Holliday, when I heard over the radio that you had escaped from Holmes's apartment, I was a little worried. I knew you'd read or heard about this fool giving your description. I thought you might go to him and perhaps to the police.
Yes, as I should have in the first place.
That's right, but you didn't. I'm glad you like adventure. So, I watched Madison's place, and I've been following you all night to see what you were going to do.
And now?
Do you want to guess?
No.
You made it perfect for me. As perfect as Henning did when he double-crossed us and tried to sell those photographs for a higher price.
Perfect for you?
Yes. Think of this. Here you are in an alleyway with the only man who identified you as the murderer of Mr. Holmes. Now, you still have the gun, and I'll take it. And be careful how you hand it to me. Please, hurry. Thank you. Now, I shoot Mr. Madison first, and then you. And how does it look?
Pretty smart, but it looks as though...
It's my idea. Let me tell it. There was a struggle, shooting, and both of you are dead. Oh, it has flaws, but not glaring ones.
Don't. I'll swear I lied to the police, Mr. Worker. I'll say Holliday killed Holmes. Honest, I will.
Oh? Better still. I will give you this gun, Madison, and you will shoot Holliday while I stand in back of you. And then you will go to the police and say you got the gun away from him when he was going to kill you. Here. Now, once you kill our friend, Mr. Holliday, you will be a murderer, and you will have to keep your mouth shut. So go ahead, Mr. Madison. Pull the trigger. Come on, pull it!
Don't do it, Madison. Don't do it. Worker can't make two shootings look right.
Either you pull the trigger, Madison, or I do. It's a little better to live than to die. Hurry, you idiot!
You won't kill me?
No. There would be no need for it unless you talk, and you won't.
Madison, don't.
Hey, you down there.
Who's... The police!
Hit the ground, Madison. Fast!
You stop. All right, you asked for it.
Nice shooting, officer. Very nice.
All right, you two, get up off the ground.
And believe me, I'm very happy to be able to do just that.
What's the matter with the other guy?
Nothing. Things were a little too much for him. He passed out.
That's the guy, officer. That's the guy.
Okay, you guys, stand back. All right.
Officer, what kept you?
Are you kidding? We've been tracing you all night. One taxi driver after another, one cab after another. You think you're going to get away with passing those phony fives all over town?
That's right.
No, I didn't. That's why I passed them out.
What?
You know, officer, you have a very efficient police force. Oh, thanks, boys.
You mean you gave out them phony fins on purpose?
Uh-huh. A very definite purpose.
I don't get it. You think it's funny, huh? Well, see how hard you can laugh at headquarters.
Officer, I've never been so happy to be arrested. And boys,
Yeah?
I'll match every phony 5 with a good 10. Come on, let's go.
Hello?
Hello, Susie.
Mr. Holiday. Gee, where are you? I was worried.
You were worried? Now listen, Susie, I'm in jail.
Yes, sir. You're what?
Yeah, get hold of Lieutenant Kling. Tell him I've got to talk to him.
Why are you in jail?
It's a long story, Susie. I'll tell you all about it when I get back. But technically, the charge is passing counterfeit money.
Mr. Holiday, you should be ashamed of yourself. All you had to do was open a charge account.
Oh, no. Good night, Susie.
Next week, same time, through the courtesy of Paramount Pictures, Alan Ladd stars as Dan Holliday in Box 13. Box 13 is directed by Richard Sandville, with an original story by Russell Hughes. Original music is composed and conducted by Rudy Schrager. The part of Susie is played by Sylvia Picker. Production is supervised by Vern Karstensen. Box 13 is a Mayfair production from Hollywood. Watch for Alan Ladd in his latest Paramount picture. Box 13, with the star of Paramount Pictures, Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
Box 13, care of Star Times. We're allowed newspapers here, and by chance I saw your advertisement. I have exactly 48 hours to live. No more than that, unless you can do something which no one else has been able to do. Get me out of the death cell at the state penitentiary. I was tried and convicted for the murder of one of my best friends.
I was tried and convicted for the murder of one of my best friends. I didn't do it. Will you try to help? Martin Kirby. When I received the letter from Martin Kirby, I wondered how a man felt who had only a short time to live and knew it. Before the thing was over, well, I'd stopped wondering. I knew.
And now, back to Box 13 and Dan Holliday's newest adventure, Hunt and Peck.
Gee, Mr. Holiday, what can you do about it?
Susie, I wish I had an answer for you.
You're going to see him, aren't you?
Well, if I don't, I'd kick myself all over the city for not doing what I could. On the other hand, he was tried, convicted, and sentenced.
But it could be wrong. I mean...
I know what you mean. Susie, sentencing a man to death is a terrible thing. The evidence against Kirby must have been pretty strong.
Uh-huh, I guess it was. You're on the horns of an Aunt Emma.
Dilemma. This time, Susie, I don't laugh.
What are you going to do?
Well, the only thing I can do, see Martin Kirby and, well, at least listen to him.
I didn't think you'd come, Mr. Holliday.
Why not?
Well, there must have been a million guys in this place. All innocent.
Sure, maybe. Some of them were and are.
I am.
What time? I mean...
I know what you mean. It's 1:30 now. I've got the rest of today until tomorrow night at 11:30.
34 hours.
I know. I've counted them, too.
All right, Kirby, what can I do?
I don't know.
Is there anything you can tell me, something that didn't come out at the trial?
The only thing that didn't come out at my trial was the fact that I didn't kill Leslie Roberts. Oh, I kept saying it, but there was too much against me. At first, when I got here, I didn't care anymore. If they wanted to see an innocent man die for something he didn't do, then it was murder on their heads. But now, Mr. Holliday, I want to live.
Sure. But there's nothing you can tell me. Anything that I can go to the police with and get a reprieve, a stay of execution?
My lawyer's tried that 100 times. My case has been reviewed. Nothing doing.
Then what you're asking of me is to do what everyone else has failed at.
I guess that's it.
You know, Kirby, it's at times like this that I wish I'd never put that Box 13 ad in the paper.
Meaning there's nothing you'll do?
No, I didn't say that. I'll try, but 34 hours is a short time.
Look, maybe you'll go at this with a fresh slant. Maybe something will hit you that everyone else has missed.
Yeah, maybe. All right, Kirby, it'll take me 2 hours to get back to the city, and, well, if I'm going to do anything, I'll have to do it fast. Driving back to the city, I felt like someone who has to tell a kid there's no Santa Claus. Because I was almost sure that Kirby had no chance. What could I do? The police were no fools. The district attorney must have had an airtight case against Kirby when he went to trial. Well, I'd promised to help, so my first stop in the city was the Star-Times, and down to the morgue to read up on the case. It was all there. Whoever covered the case for the Star-Times had done a great job of reporting. I looked at my watch. It was 3:45. Martin Kirby had 2 hours and 15 minutes less than the original 34, and all I had done so far was to stack up a pile of newspapers. I started from the beginning, but the story of the murder of Leslie Roberts itself told me nothing. Then I got into the transcript of the trial. It took me 3 hours to read everything carefully. And when I finished, I could have summed up the whole thing just as the prosecutor did.
Gentlemen of the jury, you've heard the testimony in this case. The state has proved the following facts. 1, Martin Kirby was desperately in need of money. 2, the deceased, Leslie Roberts, was insured for $100,000. His beneficiaries being the accused, Martin Kirby, and another partner, William Morgan. The double indemnity clause in the insurance policy meant that both Kirby and Morgan would receive $100,000 each. Third point. The accused quarreled with the deceased over Mrs. Roberts, wife of the murdered man. Fourth, we have established the murder weapon. This gun belonged to Martin Kirby. True, the serial numbers were filed off, but scientific work revealed the numbers, and this gun belonged to Martin Kirby. He's admitted it. And thinking to get rid of it, he threw it into a sewer near Leslie Roberts' home. Now, perhaps Mr. Kirby believed the police of this city to be fools. Far from it. Their work has established beyond doubt that Martin Kirby is a murderer.
Oh, sure, it was a good case. I stacked the papers in a pile and left the Star-Times and went down to police headquarters to see Lieutenant Kling.
Sit down, Dan. What's on your mind?
Martin Kirby.
Oh? Why?
I've seen him. He wrote to Box 13.
Ah. He's innocent, huh?
Did you work on the case?
No, Inspector Rawlings handled it. Why?
But you know about it.
Sure. Yeah, I sometimes manage to know what's going on.
Look, Kling, you're a good detective. You've got brains.
I'll buy you malted milk sometime, but you didn't come here to hand me posies.
Do you believe Kirby's guilty?
Yes.
From the evidence?
That's what we base our cases on. It's inherent in the judicial and legal system. Now, what do you want from me? A new system?
I told you I saw Kirby. Kling, he doesn't act like a guilty man.
Oh, now, wait a second.
Who's this?
That's a photograph of Marion Oberling.
So, what am I supposed to do?
Look at her. Nice and sweet, isn't she?
I've never met her.
Oh, but I did. Butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. A smile that would soften up the Rock of Gibraltar. Talks like an angel. But she killed a kid to get 35 cents from him. Now, look, you've got a soft heart, Dan. But you've got a tendency to let it run right into your head.
Maybe you're right, Kling, but I promised Kirby I'd plug away until time was out. I like to keep promises.
And that's your business, Dan. But why did you come to me?
For any help you could give me?
Which adds up to a big zero.
Kling, I read the transcript of the trial. Kirby was the only suspect.
He had motive, opportunity.
So did Mrs. Roberts and William Morgan.
It was Kirby's gun that put Leslie Roberts in the obituaries.
Someone else could have used it.
So his defense lawyer said. But Kirby couldn't explain how it got into that sewer.
But Kirby called the police when he went to Roberts' house that night and saw Roberts dead.
Sure. We get dozens of cases where the killer tries to play smart. He calls the police, figuring it'll make him look good.
But he had to kill Roberts, run outside, throw the gun into the sewer, then go back inside and call the police.
So?
That's a big chance to take in case someone heard the shot and came to investigate.
Killers take chances, Dan.
Okay. Now, the paper said there was a note from Roberts asking Kirby to come to his house that night.
Yeah. That's why Kirby said he happened to go to Roberts' house that night. The only night in the week that Mrs. Roberts is always out.
The police said Kirby could have typed that note.
Right.
But Kirby's defense lawyer said Roberts could have typed it.
Look, you type a note to me asking me to meet you. Then what do you do?
What do you mean, what do I do?
You write your signature 9 times out of 10. You don't type it.
So? That means anyone could have typed it.
I know. To get Kirby to Roberts' house.
That's it.
So that was all brought out at the trial. The jury saw it the way the prosecution summed it up. That Kirby typed that note to make it seem as though he was asked to Roberts' place.
But both Mrs. Roberts and Morgan also stood to gain by Roberts' death. Each gets $100,000.
Look, the case is closed. Too many things added up against Kirby.
Sometimes things can be added up wrong. Figures and facts.
You're knocking your head against a stone wall.
So I'll get a headache.
That's about all.
Okay, I'll carry aspirins with me. But, say, could I look at that note?
What for?
Just as a favor.
Okay, I'll take care of it for you. But I'll give you 6-2 and even that Martin Kirby will be executed tomorrow night at 11:30.
Well, Kling got me the note. So I had it, and so what? All it said was, Marty, be at my house tonight at 8:30. Less. It was typed and had been left in Kirby's typewriter at the office. Susie and I studied it.
What do you expect to get out of it, Mr. Holliday?
I don't know, Susie.
Gee, like you said, anybody could have typed it.
That's right. Kirby denies he did. Nobody can prove Roberts did or didn't. Not now.
Maybe that Mr. Morgan or Mrs. Roberts did. Gee, what if either one of them did it, and they're letting an innocent man be executed? Oh, it wouldn't be a comfortable feeling.
Susie.
What's the matter? Did I say something?
Yeah. Maybe you did, Susie. Maybe you did.
What?
Conscience?
Whose?
Mrs. Roberts and Morgan's?
You mean both of them killed Mr. Roberts?
Give me that phone book.
Here it is.
Thanks. Roberts, Leslie Roberts.
What are you going to do, Mr. Holliday?
Play a little poker.
You're going to play cards at a time like this?
Not quite, just a bluff. I'm holding a pair of deuces.
I don't get it.
Hello?
Is this Miss Leslie Roberts?
Yes. Who's this?
Never mind, just listen. Tomorrow night at 11:30, just 24 hours from now, Martin Kirby will be executed for the murder of your husband.
Who are you? What do you want?
Does your conscience bother you, Mrs. Roberts?
What do you mean by that?
Don't you know Mrs. Roberts?
Is this some kind of a stupid joke?
Hardly. They're not joking at the state penitentiary. Mrs. Roberts?
Yes?
I know something that can make you uncomfortable, but I'm willing to talk about it.
I don't know what you mean. You're either insane or completely without feeling.
If you're interested, meet me at the corner of Carpenter and Pastel Place at midnight.
And why should I do that?
That's for you to think about, but I think you know already. Now listen carefully. I'll be wearing a light tan topcoat, brown felt hat. I'll carry a leather briefcase. Goodbye.
Mr. Holliday, what was that for?
I told you. All I've got is a pair of deuces. Now, I'll make the same call to Morgan, but first, one to Kling.
I'm certainly bewildered.
Don't you ever change. You're wonderful as is.
What did I do?
Nothing at all. Susie, after I make this call to Kling and one to Morgan, I'll either have something to help Martin Kirby or
what?
Or a wonderful notice in the obituary column of the Star Times.
And now back to Hunt and Peck, another Box 13 adventure with Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
I made the same phone call to William Morgan that I made to Mrs. Roberts, but I tipped Kling to something before I did. At midnight, I was at the corner of Carpenter and Pastel Place waiting. Sure, it was a bluff, but I figured all was fair in this game. 10 minutes went by. No one showed up. Then...
Got a light, Bub?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
It's all right.
It's a wonder they wouldn't put streetlights here. Guy could get lost easy.
Yeah, he could.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for the light.
You're welcome.
Okay, Dick. See you tomorrow, then. Good night.
Maybe I played the wrong cards. Maybe no one would show up. It was 20 minutes past midnight. I stepped out of the shadows where I'd been standing. I felt pretty silly, and I knew what Kling would say. I was 20 feet away from the corner, walking slowly, looking up and down the street. There was no one in sight. The lights in the windows of the houses went out slowly, one by one. I was 30 feet away from the corner when...
Dick, is that you?
Hey, there was somebody shooting! Oh, the shot just... Dan, where are you?
Right here, Kling.
Did you get it?
Yeah, on the arm.
Sergeant, get those people back. Keep them in their houses. Now tell Thompson to take a couple of boys and scour this neighborhood. Find the person who fired that shot.
Whoever it was is the one who should die on Martin Kirby's place.
You're an idiot. You set yourself up like a clay pigeon. How bad's the arm now?
It's not so deep as well or wide as a church door, but 'twill do.
How do you like this guy? He gets winged and quotes Shakespeare. Okay, let's get you out of here. Feel better?
Yeah, thanks.
What for?
Who fired the shot?
I don't know.
No luck?
Whoever it was in one of the buildings. And running somebody to ground in that neighborhood takes a squad of men.
Yeah, I was afraid of that.
Okay, so what have you got now? A bullet through your arm?
Kling, Morgan is the real murderer of Leslie Roberts.
Why?
Mrs. Roberts reported my phone call to you, didn't she?
That's right.
But Morgan didn't.
I know that.
So he was afraid it was a blackmailer who knew he killed Roberts. He would have reported my call to you if he had nothing to be afraid of.
Sure. It looks good in your head. But what proof have you got that Morgan fired that shot tonight?
None. But on the strength of it, can't you get a stay of execution for Martin Kirby?
How? I call up and say you got shot. You think it was Morgan. Morgan denies it. No soap, Dan. To get a stay for Kirby, you need positive evidence.
And this hole in my arm doesn't count?
Only as a strike against you. And you're lucky at that.
What do I have to do?
If you could prove Morgan fired that shot, you'd have something. But what you'd have is that he fired at you. Not that he killed Roberts. Say so, swear out a warrant, and we'll bring him in.
No, don't do that. Let me ask you one more question.
What?
What do you think of the whole thing now?
Well,
Come on. What do you think?
I think you've got something, but the police haven't.
I was afraid of that. All right, Kling. Any objections if I keep going?
None for me, but you'll have to do it alone. As far as the department's concerned, the Roberts case is closed. I'd never get permission to work on it, Dan.
Not even on your own time?
That's different.
Okay. Keep in touch.
Yeah, I will. Meanwhile, you keep alive.
Well, there wasn't anything more I could do that night. Took my punctured arm and myself home and got some sleep. Not much, though, because I knew I was right and Kling was right. Only 2 people knew I'd be at Carpenter and Pastel at midnight. Morgan and Mrs. Roberts. Mrs. Roberts had called the police to report my call. Morgan hadn't. All Morgan had to do now was to lay low until Kirby was executed. But he had been worried enough to take a shot at me. Then I thought of something else. The next morning in my office...
Mr. Holliday?
Oh, good morning, Susie.
Your arm. It's in a sling.
Becoming, isn't it?
What happened?
I was shot.
Oh, who shot you?
William Morgan, I'm sure. But never mind that now. I want you to help me.
Well, sure, Mr. Holliday, but I won't get shot, will I?
Here, sit down to the typewriter.
All right.
Now, look, I've typed out a bunch of slips with, "Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their party."
With one arm?
Good enough. Now, you do the same. Go ahead.
I don't understand.
I'll explain while you type. Go ahead.
Okay.
The note left for Martin Kirby was typed. What I'm trying to do is to find out if the style of typing can be definite enough to pin on one person.
You mean I type differently from you?
Mm-hmm. I use Hunt and Peck, and you use the touch system.
Oh.
You see, Mrs. Roberts used to be a secretary. She'd use the touch system of typing. Martin Kirby could type, and so could William Morgan.
Then what good will all this do you?
I don't know. Okay, Susie, that's enough. Now, mix up the slips and pick one at random. Then you tell me who typed it.
All right. I typed that one.
How do you know?
It's smoother than yours.
That the only way you can tell?
Uh-huh.
Oh. Then if I type touch system, it'd be pretty tough to tell the slips apart.
Oh, sure. All touch system is smooth looking. The letters are, well, they're all about the same blackness.
Okay, that's another lead shot.
Gee, I'm sorry, Mr. Holliday.
Look at that clock. 10 minutes past 12. Less than 12 hours left for Kirby. Susie, I'm as sure as I can be that Morgan's guilty. That he shot me last night.
Then why don't the police arrest him? It's dangerous for a man like that to be loose.
Yes, I think you're right, but Susie,
Uh-huh.
remember what you said about conscience?
Mm-hmm.
Well, look, if Morgan was sure of himself, he wouldn't have tried that stunt last night. All right, because he did, it means that a little more work on him might make him break, huh?
You're not going to let him shoot at you again?
Oh, not if I can help it. But I am going to see him.
You will be careful, won't you, Mr. Holliday?
Susie, I have only one life to give my work. But it so happens I like it. It took the rest of the day, but I learned all I could about Mr. William Morgan. And there wasn't one thing that pointed at him as a killer. But I was sure he'd killed Roberts and framed Kirby. He knew Kirby and Roberts had quarreled. He could have taken Kirby's gun from Kirby's desk at the office. He could have typed the note leading Kirby to Roberts' house. And among other things, he had been a demonstrator for a typewriter concern. How did that help? Answer, not at all. Because Mrs. Roberts and Kirby both typed touch system. That I found out when I read the report of the trial. Okay, I had one angle left. Work on Morgan. Work on him hard enough to crack him wide open. If it could be done. So that night, 2 hours before Martin Kirby was to die, I buzzed at Morgan's house.
Yes? What is it?
Mr. William Morgan?
Yes. Who are you?
I'm a writer.
I have nothing to say. Excuse me. Get your foot away.
Oh, just a minute. Did you receive a phone call last night?
Come in.
Thank you.
What about a phone call?
Did you have one last night?
I don't know what you're talking about.
But you let me in when I mentioned it.
Sit down.
Okay.
You hurt your arm.
Yes, it got in the way.
You mentioned a phone call?
Yes, I did.
Cigarette?
No, thanks. That ashtray's awfully full. You must have been smoking a lot.
So what?
Nervous, Mr. Morgan?
Now, look here. I've had enough of this. What do you want? And who are you?
My name's Holliday. I called you last night.
That was a gruesome joke, Holliday. One I didn't appreciate at all.
I wasn't trying to amuse you, Morgan.
Why did you make that call?
Before I answer that, take a look at your clock.
Well, what about it?
In 1 hour and 50 minutes, Martin Kirby will be executed for a murder he didn't commit.
Why don't you say what you've come to say?
Because I'm waiting for you to say something.
You mean you'd like me to say something that would... Oh, no.
Why didn't you tell the police about that call last night? Big belly laugh, huh?
Yes, so the police know that you made that call.
Yes,
Oh, that wasn't very bright of you, Mr. Holliday. No blackmailer would have told the police he made that call. If you knew anything and were planning to trap me, you'd have kept it to yourself, right?
Morgan grinned at me. He knew I'd walked right into it. His nervousness seemed to just ooze away. He lighted another cigarette and kept grinning at me through the smoke. Then...
Don't you think you'd better leave now, Holliday?
Morgan, there was a note, typewritten. You typed it.
Did I?
Yes. Maybe you don't know this, but that note can put you in Kirby's place.
Yes? How?
Well, there's a way of telling who typed a note. Every typist has a different touch. And when enlarged, the touch of one typist will show up differently from another's. Kirby's defense lawyer missed that bet. But I didn't.
You talk a great deal too much, Holliday.
But it's interesting conversation, isn't
I don't
it?
believe what you said.
No? Here's the note. The police lent it to me, and...
Yeah, that's all, Holliday. Stay sitting.
You really wanted that note, didn't you?
And I've got it.
And that gun in your hand. It's the same one you shot me with last night.
And this time it won't be in the arm.
No, I suppose not.
Look, Holliday, it's almost 10. In about 1 hour and a half, Kirby will be executed. Now, you settle down and wait until 11:30.
What do you mean?
2 birds with 1 stone. Kirby and you. At 11:30. 11:25, Holliday. You and Kirby have 5 minutes.
You won't get away with it, Morgan.
Why not? If I kill you in my apartment, it'll be legal. Look.
What's that for?
Can't you guess? Papers scattered around, drawers ransacked. It's simple. I came in, surprised you rifling my apartment, and shot you. See?
With that gun?
Why not?
You know, I almost wish you would, Morgan. Because ballistics has the bullet taken from my arm, and if it matches the one that kills me tonight, you figure it out.
Why, you meddling fool. You'll be sorry.
Good work, Dan. And with 1 arm, too. You better stay where you are, Morgan.
Kling. Hey, Kling, the phone, the penitentiary.
Oh, I took care of that an hour ago.
You did what?
Sure. I heard the whole thing from outside the window.
But you said the case was closed. You couldn't work on it.
I've got news for you, Danny boy. I'm off duty.
But, Mr. Holliday, you said nobody could tell the difference between typists.
That he did, Susie. And the bluff about the bullet.
Well, any bluff in a poker game, Kling. Oh, by the way, let me ask you one question.
Yeah? What?
Why did you hold off until the last minute?
Oh, I had time. Morgan wouldn't dare kill you until after Kirby was executed at 11:30. So I looked at my watch and I figured I had time to get the headquarters, pull strings to stop the execution, and get back to you.
Lieutenant Kling!
What, Susie?
Look at your watch. It's stopped.
Oh, that's nothing. It does that every once in a while. Just shake it and, Oh, holy cats.
Oh, no. Good night, Susie.
Next week, same time, through the courtesy of Paramount Pictures, Alan Ladd stars as Dan Holliday in Box 13. Box 13 is directed by Richard Sandville, with an original story by Robert M. Light, adapted for radio by Russell Hughes. Original music is composed and conducted by Rudy Schrager. The part of Susie is played by Sylvia Picker, and that of Lieutenant Kling by Edmund MacDonald. Production is supervised by Vern Karstensen. Box 13 is a Mayfair production from Hollywood. Watch for Alan Ladd in his latest Paramount picture.